economic system is broken down. They thought they were going to outweight me. You know, we'll outweight him. He's got the midterms. I don't care about the midterms. Well, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I'm doing that for the world. I'm not doing it just for us.
That was President Trump speaking during his 12th cabinet meeting of his second term, accusing Iran of trying to run down the clock on a deal before November's midterms. Overnight, U.S. forces carried out another round of self-defense strikes in Iran, intercepting 4 Iranian attack drones near the Strait of Hormuz and striking a nearby drone control station. Iran reportedly was about to launch a 5th drone from that station in Bandar Abbas before the military stopped them. I want to bring in Wisconsin Congressman Tom Tiffany. Congressman, your thoughts on where we are right now in the negotiations with Iran?
Well, doesn't it appear, Cheryl, that the president, especially in the last month, has shown great restraint in regards to Iran? I mean, there's been some tough talk, and it's been going back and forth between conciliation and this tough talk. But the president has shown real restraint, and I think he's hoping that someone who is reasonable in Iran will come forward in leadership and say, it's time to negotiate a deal. Let's be among the peaceful nations of the world. Let's bring peace to the Middle East.
Well, one of the things the president said yesterday is that their economy is in a free fall. We had Katie McFarland on in the last hour, Congressman. She made the same point, that when you've got the Iranians saying that we're going to turn the internet back on, it's because the economy cannot operate. Banks can't operate without the internet. You know, you've got inflation, you've got unemployment. You know, if people don't get paid, they rise up. Maybe that happens again. I don't know. Your thoughts?
I mean, that's been the hope all along, is that the Iranian people will come forward and take their country back. And it highlights why we need to eliminate their ability to have nuclear weapons. The estimates are they've killed 50,000 of their own citizens who simply want freedom in their country. The Revolutionary Guard has quelled any uprisings. You just really hope at some point that the people who want a free Iran will gain the upper hand and will have Iran as one of the peaceful nations in the Middle East.
Let's talk about what's happening on Capitol Hill, the business at hand. Republicans are working to get the party line immigration funding bill back on track. It was derailed last week. President Trump's $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund is a major point of contention on the Hill between you and your colleagues in the Senate. And that fund aims to establish a formal process for Americans who claim they were targeted through politically motivated actions under the previous administrations. Now, House Majority Whip Tom Hemmer was here yesterday, and he told Maria that reconciliation 2.0 is going to get done. Listen to this.
The problem right now is communication and information. Now we're talking about American citizens who have been targeted by their own government having a cause of action. And I think members who are opposing it right now or want more information.
Do you expect the reconciliation bill to fund immigration to be on the president's desk by June?
I do.
So you're going to get this, the Senate will get this done in the next couple of days, you think?
We've gotten to know each other a little bit, Maria. Where I come from as the whip, if you say you're not going to do it, you're not going to do it. It's like the big, beautiful bill last year. We said we were going to get it done by July. We got it done by July. The president wants this by June 1st. God forbid that the senators delay this beyond that date, because the House will get it done.
Congressman, your thoughts on that?
Immigration funding is really important. And it goes back to the earlier segment that you just had, Cheryl, where we have a secure border with no illegal crossings in 12 months. But we saw the Chinese nationals that are coming across the border in military garb. Our border is still, it still can be breached. It is of great concern. We need permanent border control, and that's going to require funding by bills like this reconciliation bill to make sure that happens.
What about this this anti-weaponization fund? We had Senator Eric Schmidt on with us in the last hour. I asked him this question as well about, you know, the senators, many of them seem to want these guardrails put on the fund before they will advance it, because they want to make sure that J6 rioters don't get compensated, in particular those that attacked Capitol Police. Where do you stand on that? And would you be willing to vote for something if senators put guardrails in place and specifically within that fund?
Yeah, and I think that's the important word in there is having the appropriate guardrails, because I take the same position. If you assaulted a law enforcement officer, I don't think that you should be compensated. And so let's make sure we have the appropriate guardrails. I want to see more details, Cheryl, as we go along here before deciding, okay, is this the best route to go? I would like to see for those that deliberately broke the law. I mean, you think about having an FBI that went after Catholics at the Richmond diocese with examples like that. What I want to see is some prosecutions of those who served in the past and violated the duty that they had to represent the people of the United States of America, not weaponize law enforcement.
Congressman, I want to bring in Ashley Davis to this interview. Ashley, go ahead.
Hi, Congressman. How are you? I was just
I'm good, traveling the great state of Wisconsin.
Well, that's great. My big question here is, do you think we land this plane in the next 2 weeks on FISA? I mean, I've been looking and talking to people. Supposedly there are a lot of negotiations happening. Obviously, the president wants a long-term fix on this. Do you think that we're almost there and we'll be able to bring it over the finish line, or do you think we punt the date again?
Yeah, as we go through this in the Judiciary Committee, which I'm a member, I haven't gotten an update here in the last few days. But I hope that we can land that here in the next couple of weeks. It would be good to get a long-term resolution to FISA. But there are, people have very strong feelings in regards to FISA and making sure that it is not abused as it has been in the past. And that will continue to be a contentious point as we try to get to a good spot where we can pass the bill out of Congress.
I want to ask you about what's happening in your state. Wisconsin gubernatorial candidate Francesca Hong facing scrutiny following some resurfaced posts on X. She called to defund and then abolish the police. The Democratic Socialist wrote this in 2020. I support defunding the police as a first step towards abolishing the police. Hong expressed similar views just a year later, saying police exist to uphold white supremacy. Defund, then abolish. Reform can't be an option. So she's, at this point, trying to walk back all of this, it looks like. She told Fox News Digital, there's no way I want to cut resources for public safety. I don't like crime. I don't like unsafe streets. I also don't like when a member of law enforcement buses other power. Congressman, you're currently the front runner for the Republican nomination in this race. You could be facing her. What is your response to how she's changing her tune, so to speak?
Yeah, I don't know that she's changing her tune. I mean, she meant it when she said not just defund police, but abolish police. But she's taken positions like she's defended grooming of children, voting against a bill that would have stopped grooming with children. This is the extreme of the extreme. There's another candidate in the field also that he offered to have free beer if there's the assassination of Donald Trump happens. It is truly in Wisconsin crazy versus common sense. That's going to be the choice the voters are going to have here in Wisconsin, because there's a whole bunch of candidates on the Democrat side, and they are all going in the same direction of socialism and crazy.
All right, we're going to be following that race, of course. Congressman Tiffany, great to have you here, sir. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Cheryl.
All right.